and Andrew Slack. It's a great privilege to have you here today. Thank you for joining me.
Thanks, pleasure.
Andrew, Eden Park is probably a good place to start. The Wallabies went there recently and unfortunately succumbed again. It's been 23 years since we got a result there, and you led the side there in '86 when we last went away with a win. Why do you think we've struggled there?
Can't answer the question with anything sort of too definitive. I know I get the call from a radio station every year about this time because, you know, it was once 10 years and then 20, and talking to a guy today, I said, I'll get you next year and be 24. So eventually we'll win there. Yeah. I guess the longer you don't, the more it becomes talked about, an issue, and things get in the head of a sportsman that don't help their his or her process and the way they go through things, and you don't need things diverting your path. So if you're suddenly talking about this being a bogey team or a bogey ground or a bogey city, it becomes it. You know, it's self-perpetuating. So the answer is I don't know. It's cold and you play the All Blacks. It's probably two of the reasons. Yes. The All Blacks are good, and they're good every year. Yeah. And they've got a method of being able to turn defeat into victory. So look, the more losses, the closer you are to a win would be my only view. But it's one of those grounds where you do feel uncomfortable. You know, crowds being close and far and all that. You get used to a certain one, and that one I don't think we ever got terribly well used to. We nabbed it in '86, but been a struggle ever since.
And it does put the '86 achievement in context, doesn't it? Because it was coming after the 1984 Grand Slam triumph. That really was the moment where Australia not only arrived, but were pretty much top of the pile.
Yeah, I think that's probably the day where we could have said we were champions of the world, bearing in mind at that time South Africa weren't involved because of apartheid. They were just getting back into it. So for who was playing, I think that day proved it. So that was pleasing. We'd won, as you say, the Grand Slam a couple of years earlier, but the All Blacks are harder. The All Blacks in New Zealand are harder than anywhere else, barring potentially the Springboks, but we didn't have them to confront.
The other thing that those triumphs in '84 and '86 did, Andrew, was change the expectations of the rugby public en masse. All of a sudden, Australia were expected to not only perform creditably and be competitive, but expected to win. Do you think that that's taken another step ahead with the World Cup triumphs now? And are we getting to a stage of sort of unhealthy expectations with the Wallabies?
I think there's a lot of things in sport that are unhealthy on an expectation point of view. Look, I think from a rugby historical perspective, Australian sides from day dot through to the 70s were known for throwing the pill around and things being quite enjoyable, but not winning very much. And you tire of that. And we started to get, you know, a group of good players who stayed with the game, and some coaching advances around that time. And certainly the guy who coached that lot in '84, Alan Jones, who's well known for his drive and desire. Whether you always agree with tenets by which he pushes them is up to you, but he certainly you know, knows how to get the best out of people, and I think he wanted to turn it around from a team that entertains to a team that won consistently. Yes. So we did. Then of course money jumped into the scenario. It was amateur in those days, jumped into the scenario in about '95, '96, and once commerce is involved in sport, there probably should be another word for sport, because it's not the sport that, you know, we play as kids or played in an amateur era of rugby. So your expectations there, I think it is slightly unhealthy from time to time, but you know, you try with your involvement to keep as much balance about these things as you can.